Town Council regular session for February 9th, 2016, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first thing on our agenda tonight is a public hearing, and it concerns the withdrawal of property from the Lakeview Rural Fire Protection District. And we will take comments if there are people who have them. And first of all, though, I'd like a little background from Ray and our attorney, if we can do that.
Now, let me start.
Okay.
This public hearing is being held under ORS 222-524, and that statute provides that anytime when you are involved in an annexation proceeding, as the town is currently, in that process, in the annexation process, the property is withdrawn from a special tax district, and in this particular case, if the annexation is approved by ordinance, we will be withdrawing property from the Lakeview Rural Fire Protection District. Then a public hearing is required to be held with the sole issue being whether it is in the best interest of the town of Lakeview that property be withdrawn from the Lakeview Fire Protection District. So the only issue is specific issue at the time of the public hearing, it's whether it's in the best interest of the town that property be withdrawn.
Thank you. Ray, do you have anything to add?
I don't know that there's anything I need to add
Okay.
at this point. So.
Well, we will proceed then with taking comments from anyone here who wishes to talk against this ordinance. So if there's anyone, please raise your hand, give your name if you wish to speak. Is there any correspondence opposing this? Then we will have persons wishing to speak in favor of the ordinance. So if there's anyone here who wishes to do that, please let me know. No one? All right. Do we have any correspondence in favor?
I've had no correspondence.
Okay. Since we've had no public comment, I believe we can close the public hearing at 4:04.
Just for the record, and to kind of add John's comments, it was published in the paper twice as required.
Published and posted.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment?
I have a comment. I have a letter for you.
Please give your name for the recorder, please.
Orlando Gonzalez, Lakeview.
Thank you. We are familiar with you,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I'd like to do that
Give you
anyway.
guys a copy. You received a copy of this letter back in January. I'm giving you another copy because I'm still feeling real strong about this and other people do within the community. And I'll read that paragraph which now is applicable. That copy? You guys have a copy? Okay, but basically, again, we would, folks, I don't have a signature on it, but there's quite a few people that are interested in this. We would very much like you to pay attention to that second paragraph in this letter that I mentioned the last time I was here. Because I know you folks are going to be looking at hiring some law enforcement people in the near future here. Okay, and what it reads here, it says, I would also ask that when the time comes to recruit for a permanent chief of police, that your recruitment efforts include women candidates, and also that you, town manager and the town council members, consider a community advisory committee to assist with the individual selection. That last, consider a community advisory committee to assist with the individual's selection. I think it's critical, folks. I think we have to admit we've had some problems in the past. And I think, I don't know what legal obligations are involved in regards to the selection. But I'm not asking that these people vote, but these people probably aren't asking that they vote, just saying that, hey, they'd like to have some input. And I think it's for the benefit of the city. This individual these individuals, and in this case, chief of police, works for the citizens of this town. And they deserve the best that they can get. And they deserve someone that will basically consider them as individuals and will treat them humanely, okay? That's what they're asking for. That the person that you hire is a good person, who will promise to do a good job, who will treat everyone humanely and decently and to the best of his or her ability, okay? And that's what I think that would if we could ask some of the citizens in town to participate, I think it would be well worth the effort. Like I said again, this individual works for us, the citizens of Lake County. He's accountable to us. He treats, we're the ones in the street that, I don't see very many of them rushing in here and placing any of you folks under arrest or suspicion or whatever. There's the people out there. And they want a person that will be considerate of their feelings, their situations, etc. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda are communications corners, and we have the honor today of swearing in our new police officer, Mr. Terry Lott, Officer Terry Lott. He's been a police officer for
Almost 21 years.
almost 20, oh. And so he's a Lakeview native, decided to come back and stay with us for a while. So if you would come up here, we'll go ahead with this. I, Terry Lott, do solemnly swear
I carry off this swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America,
and laws of the United States of America,
the state of Oregon,
the state of Oregon,
and the ordinances of the town of Lakeview,
and the ordinances of the town of Lakeview,
and I will do to the best of my ability
and I will do to the best of my ability
perform the duties of police officer for the town of Lakeview, perform the duties of police officer
will perform the duties of police officer
for the town of
for
Lakeview.
the town of Lakeview.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank
I do just sign this for us quickly and then we'll have it in the file.
Uh-oh, left-handed.
Maybe that's yours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, department reports. Please, Travis Swindle, acting chief. Anything in addition to your report?
Just welcome Terry.
Scott Utley,
Nothing to add for 911.
911 is
We're
911-ing.
We're chugging along, we're getting ready for some massive upgrades, probably in next month, to our telephone system. So,
Great,
we're moving forward.
okay. And Dennis is not here for the fire department today. He did turn in a report. Public Works is not here today either.
Jeff is sick, and Daryl went to Alturas, but apparently didn't make it back. So.
Okay, so that leaves manager.
And you have mine.
Yes, we do. Do you have anything to add?
I'll have a couple of updates when we get to the manager updates.
We are at the manager.
Oh, is that where we're at right now? Well, I can. I guess first thing I would like to, I'm at a point where we can actually formally announce that Chief Camp, is now former Chief Camp, I guess I would say, Jeff's resignation / retirement is now completed. And so Jeff is no longer working for the town of Lakeview. I do want to say we've appreciated all the work and all the time that Jeff, the many years that he's spent, and extra hours and all. He's been a great asset to the town of Lakeview. We're going to miss him. So we are at that point. Along with that, I'll be working with Sandy and others to begin the process of replacing Chief Camp, and we'll get started on that here in the next few days. So I've been doing a little work on it already. So that's one update. Another one would be that I think I reported at the last council meeting that, and it may be actually in my report about the Head Start project. We actually are now in a little bit of a delay, a holding pattern. Head Start needs to raise some additional funds for some of the off-site improvements at sidewalks, curbs, those sorts of things at their site before we go forward with the bidding process for our contractors. But we have some free time, some leeway in our schedule, so we're okay still as far as the ultimate time of getting the project completed. Red Rock land use process is about to get underway. This would be the urban growth boundary adjustment. I did talk about that a little in my report. There will be the first hearing before the planning commission of the town and the county will be next Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock at the courthouse. That process, though, is going to immediately be asked to be continued to the next planning commission meeting in March, but at least that's where we're headed with that. They're just not ready for a full hearing of their urban growth boundary adjustment yet. And finally, we had a natural gas meeting this morning here, working group, a small meeting, but we're kind of waiting on Red Rock with that too, until Red Rock makes some decisions to commit to building their project and actually building the natural gas line up as far as the Red Rock facility will be. There's really nothing more for us to plan until that happens. All of the discussions at this point have been how to extend from there on into town and out to businesses to the north, and so until that is firmly started, we're really nothing more to plan for until that happens. So I think that's my updates.
I also want to thank Jeff Camp for his service. I worked with him a lot in the past, and he's a good guy.
I had a question you stated here that there's a meeting tomorrow with the State Historical Preservation Office.
Oh, sure.
Where's that gonna be held?
It's going to be next door in our conference room over here. It's a meeting of the Lakeview Community Partnership. That it's the Main Street group that's working on many activities, and one of them is tomorrow is going to be to discuss the possibility of historic designations, possibly a future historic district for downtown Lakeview with all of our old buildings and so forth. There's a representative from the State Historic Preservation Office who is going to be here. Joy Sears is her name, to discuss some of the more details about the process. So there's actually a meeting tomorrow at 2:30 with some business owners and her, and then there's a follow-up meeting with the Lakeview Community Partnership at 4 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Mayor, council manager updates. I did attend a Lake County Public Safety Coordinating Committee meeting last week, and got updates from the local community corrections office, and they have 2 officers, 1 staff, and 170 cases in Lake County, so they're very busy. But they have started a treatment court for drug offenders over there last year, which they gave an update on. Jake Greer, the director, gave an update, and it seems to be going very well. They have had a number of pretty good successes and a few failures, of course. And those people usually end up going to prison, but it seems like the program has been very effective so far. Sharon?
We got through Gala for the chamber, and it went beautifully as usual, and a lot of help from a lot of people who worked really hard on it, and it was a fun evening. I'm also on the Cultural Coalition Board, and we are about to announce several grants that have been applied for the Cultural Coalition. Deals with history, historical advances, art, children, those kinds of programs. So we are about to announce about $6,000 worth of grants locally.
Ray, excuse me.
I talked with Kathy Dugan a while back about the lighting throughout town for the streets. And I'm looking at maybe some solar panels. It's in the experimental stage right now to see what it would cost and maybe use some LED lights
Are you talking about?
for the Christmas.
Oh, for Christmas? Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm working on that right now with the electricians down at the mill.
Great,
Good idea.
I have nothing to do.
okay,
And I have nothing
okay, thank you. Ray, you said you wanted to do it in this section, and I said.
No,
That's where we
you made
were,
me-
and I goofed.
Yeah, that's okay, but I would point out, though, that you did skip number 6, which is the consent calendar.
Oh, yes, I did. Wow.
It's-
I'm in trouble. Okay, we have the
We're not
consent
firing
calendar,
you, so give it up.
the regular session for January 26th minutes. We have a motion to approve.
Yeah, so moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to
And we
approve.
second when we weren't here.
Pardon? Oh, Ray, you weren't here for that
Yes, we
meeting.
weren't here.
Oh, no,
so
I
we
can't
can't.
second that. What am I thinking of?
So, Mike,
second.
Mike, secretary. So we have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, new business. We have the approval of old business, excuse me, nothing under old business. New business, approval of the budget calendar, which is in the packet.
It's essentially the same schedule that we've been following for years now, just adjusted to fall on the Tuesdays that are not your regular council meeting dates. Unless, of course, we get to the point of needing a third or a fourth meeting, and then we have to begin to combine them with council meetings. But so the calendar is essentially the same schedule as we've been following for a number of years.
Any questions or comments or motions?
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget calendar as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the budget calendar as presented. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And new ordinance number 855, proclaiming and declaring the annexation of certain territory into the corporate limits of the town of Lakeview.
Hold on just a sec. When you consider this, I probably read this ordinance 5 or 6 times, and I just read it again. There's a typo on page 2. Section 4, so when you consider this motion, second to the last line in section 4, should read the town's comprehensive plan as opposed to the town's comprehension plan. Okay, I apologize, thank you.
I don't know, works it.
I had a comprehension problem there,
Okay, is there any discussion from?
Once again, we depend on spell check, and it was spelled correctly.
Yeah,
What was the ordinance number once again?
855.
so. Amy, I'll bring you over to page 2.
Do you have any comments from the council on the matter?
Just, I gave you, the big map is laying out there again that we had before. I passed out smaller maps that you can take a look at to see the streets and the properties that we've provided services to for, or have requested services in the past. When they do that, they consent to a future annexation, which is the situation with these properties. It also includes a small piece of alley that is already within with this annexation would be within the boundary of the town of Lakeview, as well as two streets that are contiguous to and appropriate to the annexation of these parcels as well. So we're roughly taking a quarter of a mile of street, a piece of that, of course, South L Street has not even been constructed at this time. But, so that kind of gives you an idea where they're all in the south part of Lakeview and have all consented to annexation.
The new zoning is as set forth in the ordinance. The L K Street properties are residential. The industrial park M Street property is zoned industrial. Existing non-conforming uses are permitted. It's a non-emergency ordinance, so it takes place, it's effective 30 days after the day. July 1st will be the effective date for property taxation. July 1st will be the effective date as far as the withdrawal from rural fire. That just makes it easier on the county assessor if it's a July 1st date. But for all intents and purposes, 30 days after its passage, it will become effective. So, any questions on that? That's all set forth in the ordinance.
We will need a motion to read this by title only.
Make a motion that we read the ordinance number 855 by title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second to read ordinance number 855 by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now, when you make the motion here, give me the authority to make the correction on page 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 855 with the amendment to section 4 on page 2, town's comprehensive plan.
You need to read the title.
And which is the title of an ordinance proclaiming and declaring the annexation of certain territory into the corporate limits of the town of Lakeview pursuant to the provisions of ORS 222.125.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 855 with correction by our attorney. An ordinance proclaiming and declaring the annexation of certain territory into the corporate limits of the town of Lakeview pursuant to the provisions of ORS 222.125. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. All right.
Just a side note is that this will increase property taxes by about $3,300 for the town of Lakeview. The properties that we're already providing services to. So, thank you.
Any additional comments? And we will close the council meeting at 4:19. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate your interest.